Today on the Diz List, we talk about what's in our park bags when we go to Walt Disney World.
Lists everything in Walt Disney World.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Rob, and today we're going to talk about our park bags. Took me a minute to figure out how I was going to do that in the intro, because there's so many different ways we can say it.
We have done an episode like this before.
Yeah, like probably episode, I think. So full disclosure, we did for our Patreon episode. We did for our 100th Patreon episode, we did a thing where we said, give us a Q&A, whatever you want to ask. And one of the questions was, what are the top things in your park bags?
Yeah.
And we were like, well, man, I thought we did a list of that. And I looked back, and it had been a while. And when I say a while, I mean a long time. Like episode 32.
Yeah.
And things change. Our kids are older.
We have new listeners.
We have new listeners. And, maybe our opinions have changed. So that's really where this came from, was to do this. But we have done it, but it's been like literally almost 2 years ago.
And the timing is kind of good for us too, because we're both getting ready for our trips. Your trip is a little bit different right now.
Yes.
But not really. I mean, it is, but
it's still
isn't.
A Disney trip. It's just not the same kind of Disney trip.
It's a Disney trip.
I'm going to Alani.
That's what I was going to say, right? For people that are new listeners, that's where you're going to Hawaii this year. Still really warm. Still going to need things like sunscreen. I just spoiled one of the items on the list. But come on,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for my trip this time, I'm obviously packing different because I don't have a park bag. I mean, we'll have day bags. The thing with Hawaii, the more research I've done for Hawaii, and people who've gone to Alani will admit this too. Hawaii is this idyllic place on a postcard.
Mm-hmm.
But Hawaii is also, there's a lot of crime there. And when there's that much crime, you tend to pack differently because you're not. Let's just say that tourists are targets because it's very clear when you're a tourist. We were considering renting a Jeep Wrangler, and then it was like on a blog, it's like, yeah, there are like 10% of the Jeep Wranglers on the island are islanders, but everybody knows that 90% of them are not. And what ends up happening is that they are targets. It's like putting a big target on your back that says, hey, I have bags in the back. So, for instance, when we land, we're going straight to the hotel, straight to the resort, dropping off our bags, then going shopping, like going grocery shopping, because we don't want to risk having our bags in the back, while we do it. That's not to say it's like crime is running. Excuse me. It's not to say it's running rampant. It's just that it's something you should be aware about, no matter where you go. But like, you're not inside a bubble like you are at Disney World.
Yeah,
so I'm packing differently.
You're just preparing yourself, essentially.
And you're staying off property, right?
Yes, we're actually. This is a shorter trip. We thought about staying on property at a Disney resort, but this is just going to be anniversary trip for my wife and I. So, a lot of the stuff I like to save for when we're with the kids. So there was a hotel last time we went that we really liked. We stayed last time at the Wyndham Garden Hotel, which is, for those of you who don't know where that is, it's right next to Disney Springs. So if you were looking at a map, it would be to the east of Disney Springs. So the cool thing about this hotel and the hotels in that area is they have a bridge where you can walk up and over the it's expressway or road, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that road is, but yes.
It's very easy to access. So the one we stayed at previously, we were able to access it really quickly. We could get to Disney Springs. It was great. We really enjoyed it. This is going to be directly across the road from that one. It is on the same side of the street as kind of like where the Disney casting is. So it's across the street from Disney Springs, and it's called, I always forget the name because it's so long. It's the Hilton Orlando Lake Buena Vista in the Disney Springs area. So we're going to try that this time.
I've actually looked at that hotel. So I think it is a nice area.
Mm-hmm.
I've looked at it because it is a Hilton and I have Hilton points, like for rewards points or whatever. And it's generally speaking a pretty decently priced option, and it is right in the Disney Springs area, so that's always a good thing. That'll be cool to hear back from you. I think that if I was doing an adults only stay, I would definitely be looking to be near the Springs for a number of reasons. But if you're looking to save some money and stay off property, it's a great spot to stay off property.
Yep.
Because of the fact that it is near the Springs. So there's lots. Oh, you get all the benefit of all that entertainment and all those dining options, but you're also still in Disney World.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a cool spot.
So that's where we're going to be staying. And again, packing, back to our original topic here, packing for a trip with just an adult is different than packing for kids.
Oh, yeah. Like some of the stuff in my bag, I'm not putting in my bag if I don't have kids with me.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
That's important to say, too. So what we're sharing today is not specifically for one thing or another. It's just kind of in general. So whether you have kids or you don't have kids, most of this stuff is going to be applicable either way.
Yeah. I mean, yes, exactly. I think that it's like, for instance, it's pretty clear you don't want to get dehydrated, right? So spoiler alert, we're going to talk about having ways to stay hydrated in your bag.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter whether you have kids or not. But like if I'm going with a 5-year-old versus going with a teen who can carry their own bag, my bag changes.
Yes. Right.
So that's interesting. I wanted to bring up something that happened this past week because it's been happening more frequently. So I forget what the thing was that I said on last week's episode, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Either way, one of the people who was in my wedding commented to my wife, "Happy anniversary," and then said, "Oh, I never knew that blah, 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 blah." And my wife was like, "What? Where did that come from?" Like, she says to me, "This was my anniversary message." And it was something I had said on the show about something we did together.
Right.
But it's happening more and more where like stuff in our real life and stuff from the podcast intertwine. So we forgot to do this last week.
Sure.
But we have to give a shout out to Tracy. Remember?
Yes.
Mike told us we had to give a shout out to Tracy.
Yeah.
Who's a mother of a friend of his son.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Who listens to the show.
Yeah. So Tracy, I'm not sure who you are, but shout out.
Yeah. And poor Mike, our friend Mike, is the drummer and got a drumstick to the eye and tore his cornea.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Poor guy.
Crazy.
Still
stuff.
Played the show too.
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't think Mike listens, but
no,
okay.
but Tracy does. So Tracy can tell him that we gave him a shout out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like it's happening more and more with like this crazy interjection, like intertwining, I should say, of stuff. Like the other day, we're at the parade, and now so you were talking to somebody who you do some design work for,
yeah,
who is a huge Disney person, like probably more than us.
Yeah,
I mean,
and she listens.
Oh yeah, correct. I know.
Yeah,
but like now, I have had pretty much zero interaction with her, really.
Yeah,
outside of like occasionally seeing her at sporting events because her kids play sports at our school.
Yep.
But it was like, oh, see you later, talking to me too. It's like, yeah, but it's like it's like this intertwining of like
because she listens.
Well, right, but it's just weird, right? Yeah. And we've talked about this how it's an interesting thing when the podcast starts to grow and people start to.
It's great though.
Yeah, it is. This week we had, speaking of the podcast, we did have a listener, one of our patrons, Jessica, was in Disney, and she extended her stay so she could enjoy the Little Mermaid's opening.
Oh, I
And
wasn't.
Villains. Was it Villainous or whatever? She said it was fantastic, both of them. And she actually met up with your Scouts Rob while she was there. So,
cool.
So that's cool. But yeah. So by the way, she's a patron, and that's why I knew she was there, because she was giving us some information on our like little chat piece from our Patreon.
Cool.
So you can actually go check that out at the patreon.com/DizlessPod. And we do have a couple of little like chat groups that are there that you can be part of, even as a free member. And then a paid member, you get early access to new episodes as well as bonus content every week. So
I put up a link to our how to join our free Patreon last night. I got to get in the habit of doing that more often, just so it's easier for people. So my point is, follow us on Instagram. We do a lot on Instagram.
Yeah.
Nick and I both try to post as often as we can.
Yeah.
Funny stuff, informational, little video clips from the show.
From our show.
So please follow us on Instagram.
Yeah. But the halftime show is brought to you by our Patreon patrons over at patreon.com/DizListPod. We'll see you right after the break. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about our park bags and what we pack in them every time we go to Disney World.
Yep.
There's no shortage of stuff, so therefore we are not doing a top 5.
Yeah.
We're going to give you what's in our park bags. If you see us in the parks and say, "Let me see your bag," I'm telling you.
Excuse me, sir.
Excuse me, sir. What's in your bag? No, like,
I didn't steal anything. I swear.
You know what just popped in my head is Let's Make a Deal. At the end of Let's Make a Deal, we're like, "Do you have a penny in your purse from 1995?" And it's like, "If you do, I'll give you $100." These are the things that if you were to ask me if I have, I'm going to have, right? Every single time. I don't know why I went to the Let's Make a Deal stuff.
No, it's a good comparison. Scavenger hunt.
So I'm going to let's start by spoiling the things that, it's not really a spoiler, but the things that we mentioned on our Patreon last week, because we said we're going to do a full episode, but here are our top 2, like our top 1. Okay. It's for each of us. So my top thing, and I know that you have this stuff too, but my top thing is just having frozen bottles of water in my bag. I've recently moved over from a regular park bag that was lightweight and stored everything that you could possibly need to this new. I typically am carrying this thing called it's an igloo. It's an igloo cooler that has a Minnie Mouse or Mickey Mouse on the back, and it really does a phenomenal job.
Cool.
Well, our hack.
How heavy is it?
It's not as heavy as you'd think.
Good.
It gets heavy when I start putting this stuff in it. But,
right.
But I pack literally like frozen water bottles. We're typically staying in a DVC, so there's a freezer in our fridge, and we can actually like freeze the water bottles. And as the day goes on, we take one out, put them on the side. As it warms up, that's now the water because it's thawed ice, and then we keep rotating them. You've always got cold water that way. So for me, number one thing is always frozen water bottles or water in general. Your number 1 last week was what?
I think it was sunscreen.
It was?
Yeah. So I don't know. Everybody's like this, and people listening are going to probably agree. Some people just don't like certain things on their skin, or they don't like to wear certain fabrics because it bothers them. So for me, I don't like the sunscreen that you have to like put on like lotion. If for some reason it's weird on my face and my skin, but I do great when it comes to the spray sunscreen. So I keep that in my bag. That's definitely my sunscreen of choice. So it's important to have that on you. And my advice is reapply, because even though they say it's waterproof or sweat proof, you're still going to want to do it again later, just in case.
Yeah.
When I was younger, and my mom put sunscreen on me, I know she did, but I cannot count the number of pictures, and I can find these, you will laugh at me, my face being bright red and getting burned almost every time.
I won't laugh at you because
sun.
I was the same way.
Yeah.
And I would put sunscreen on, but like I would get sunburns to the point of blistering.
Yeah.
And it was
me too.
Even though I grew up with like very dark hair and stuff, I don't know what it is about my complexion, but I would always get super burned. And my whole family, all my brothers do it too. I want to add that for those of you who maybe don't like the feeling of the like sunscreen on your hands and like it's greasy.
I just don't like it.
I'm telling you, I don't either. But if you are willing to spend a little bit more money, the Neutrogena Ultra Sheer ones, it dries quicker and does not have that greasy feeling afterward. And I will tell you, now this as somebody who's also tattooed, it is the best thing I've found for my tattoos. It always is top notch, and it moisturizes the skin. So it's like really
I am
good.
interested.
The Neutrogena Ultra
I
Sheer.
think I know. It's like a white bottle.
No, it's light. No, not that one. Because
Okay.
they do make one like that. The Ultra Sheer is like this light blue, and it's got moisturizing stuff in it.
Okay.
And when you're done with it, it is like, you can tell you applied sunscreen because it's a little bit almost foggy on your screen. You can tell because I have tattoos, right? So you look at it and it looks a little foggy almost, but I have never had an issue. Now, with all the black line work I have, I've never had an issue with my tattoos getting burned.
I'm very smell sensitive as well.
There's no, this is not, it does not smell like a, what do they call them? The banana boat one.
Yeah,
It's like
I actually don't mind that smell.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
But anyway, I just want to point that out, that if you don't like the greasy stuff, they do make stuff that doesn't feel that way. All right, let's get to some nitty gritty here.
Okay. One of my secret ones that I have learned through the years of being in a touring band. So I've played in a band for many years, and we've toured around the country and, Europe and all over the place. And the secret is Gold Bond powder that you can put anywhere. You can put your chest, places that you don't want to mention on the podcast. It just keeps you really, really fresh throughout the day. So that's kind of always been my secret. So when you're touring around in a van with a bunch of guys, and you're real hot and sweaty and it's in the summer, Gold Bond really helps to dry you out and make you feel refreshed again. That's my little secret tip for everybody, guys and gals, everybody in between.
I would throw in that Body Glide is always in my bag. We each have our own stick of Body Glide. It is not just for marathoners. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
It's for people, because you're running a marathon basically, but you're walking it. I want to throw in, because it falls under the same idea, is these, they're like refreshing wipes. Okay. And these
you were telling me about it earlier.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of these.
They're kind of like, I think one of the brands actually calls them shower wipes, but they are like, it is like a eucalyptus mentholated, like moistened towelette. That, especially for a bald dude, like wipe that on my face and on my head, wipe my arms down, and I feel refreshed. And I think part of it is the eucalyptus or whatever. But like once you do that, of course, you should reapply your sunscreen because you've wiped it all off.
Yeah.
But you definitely feel refreshed when you do those. So that kind of falls into that same Gold Bond thing. And they come in like a little thin pack. Looks like they're wipes for like a baby, or like those dude wipes you might have seen before. It's really thin, very lightweight, and they really do work. I was shocked. My wife was like, "I got these for you. Try them out." And just wiping them on your back and on your face and arms, and you feel great. So,
I'll stay in this same wheelhouse. I mean, we have a long list. I'm kind of skipping around here.
That's fine.
But one other thing that I know we used and our sons used when we went on our trip together was those cooling towels.
Oh, yes.
So what you do with these cooling towels is you get them wet. Mine kind of looked like a scarf. So it's like a long, obviously think of a scarf. And you get them wet. You put them around your neck. You can put them on your head. They'll kind of unfold big enough where it can go over like a younger kid's head. And they really do stay cool for a long period of time. Then you can wring them out, get them wet again. It really helps, I feel like.
Yeah, don't buy the one. I mean, if you want to, you can. I recommend not buying the ones that they sell at Disney at the markup for what they are.
It's going to be triple.
Yeah, you can get these for pretty cheap on Amazon. And you can do different, like they have the name brands, Frog Togs or whatever. This last time, so we went with my brother and my sister-in-law. And my sister-in-law has a business where she does some sewing and stuff. And she made these cool like things for the kids that were side slings, but her mother helped her make these things that were like, they held our they were like personalized, and they held our cooling towels.
Cool.
And so they had, and then the cooling towels were like embroidered, or like,
So
yeah, it really was cool. And and like the cooling towel had our like had names on them and stuff. So it really was a nice little thing to have. They're great. They're a lifesaver. Especially like what I've found is when you go into a cooled area, so an air conditioning area, like take it out and like really get it cool in there, and then wear it out into the wild if you want. But yeah, it's definitely something you want to add. Go ahead.
Have you ever done portable fan?
I haven't. I know you're a fan of them. I don't dislike
it's
them.
the second time. I'm a fan of them. Like, cool. It's a cool,
man. This is dad joke central,
but not on purpose.
No.
I have it. So YouTube people, you can see this is. I'm holding in my hand right now one of the fans that I've used, and
it's a USB charged one.
It is, yeah. And I kind of have it here just in the studio for when it gets hot in the summer. I don't know.
Oh, that's loud.
Yeah, so I put the fan by the microphone. It seemed it was loud putting it by the microphone, but it's really, really quiet. The blades on them are plastic. Kids really can't get their fingers in here anyway. But it's a USB charged fan. It has a button. It has 3 different speeds, and we've used this at the park before. I've seen lots of different versions of this. They now have these little mini fans that kind of go around your neck, and they're like a C shape. They hook around your neck with the 2 fans pointing at you. I don't know if you've watched Tim Tracker recently. Do you see the hat he's wearing?
Yeah.
So Tim Tracker wears this big, you have them. What are those hats called? The big,
it's a mission hat.
The mission hats.
Yeah,
and then
sun hat.
I don't know how to describe it. In the actual brim, it's like sewn in sort of. There are 2 fans sewn into the brim of the hat. I don't know how else to describe it. Have you seen him wear it on his videos before?
Yeah. I don't know if I could pull that off.
It's a lot.
I'm not a fan person for this reason. When they run out, now what?
Yeah, and they're not super bulky or heavy. The one I'm holding right now is.
But there are people that swear by them, and so I can totally get that. I don't have that in my bag, but I get it. And we're talking about, staying cool and stuff, and that's because you start to get hot and sweaty, and kind of not comfortable. You and I swear by this next one.
I know what you're gonna say.
Okay, we swear by it. And anybody who's been to the parks needs to do this, in my opinion.
Especially the dads.
Yeah, if you're the guy who's the packing the pack mule.
Yes.
Okay,
that's me and you.
Partway through the day, your back is just completely covered to the point where there's sweat all the way down.
Oh yeah.
So I always pack an extra t-shirt.
Sometimes 2.
Yeah. Well, if I'm going to like if I'm saying Magic Kingdom area and we're going to Animal Kingdom and I know it's gonna be a full day. Absolutely.
Yep.
Or even like Hollywood Studios, maybe jumping over to Epcot. Absolutely. I would pack 2. It doesn't need to be anything heavy, just something lightweight. You will be shocked and amazed how refreshed you will feel just by switching your shirt over to something that is dry and makes you feel more comfortable. And also, it's like, even though everybody is sweaty, I always feel awkward. Like, my God, I must look like a fool. And then I see pictures later and I'm like, oh my God. But like everybody looks like that.
Look at me, 1 o'clock, I look like a wet walrus.
Yeah. That's so on days where I'm wearing a t-shirt, I definitely now like I have those Columbia like Omni Shield shirts for fishing or whatever. They're PFG, I believe. And those are crazy. They'll dry out in like minutes. So those ones I don't necessarily bring an extra shirt. If I'm wearing a t-shirt, if I'm wearing a graphic tee, I'll bring 2 or 3.
On our last trip, and I'd never done this before, I'd always been t-shirts and tank tops forever. And this last trip, I wore a button-up shirt. And they're similar to the Roosevelt's one. I didn't have a Roosevelt's one to wear. But the fabric on those, they're great for guys and gals. It's a very light, stretchy fabric. And I actually had one from this company called Dixon. It's the same kind of fabric. And I wore that to the park last time, and it was great. It was light. It had a cool, fun pattern on it. And I think I ended up still changing my shirt halfway through the day, but it was really a great option to wear. I don't know how to describe that kind of fabric. Yeah. I don't think it's polyester.
No, it's like
it's a stretchy.
Well, that
lightweight.
That fabric is a polyester of some sort.
But both companies, the Dixon brand, I have a couple shirts from, and then I have a couple from Roosevelt's. Problem is they're very expensive. So my 2 cents, if you don't have a lot of money to buy them, go on to Poshmark or Mercari or Depop or one of those places and see if anybody's selling one that they've worn once or twice.
Similar material. You can get the same kind of thing at Dick's Sporting Goods, their particular brand. is actually pretty decent, and it's normal. It's decently priced.
DSG brand, is that what they call it?
Yep. And then Columbia is always having sales.
Yes.
So I would sign up for like notifications when they have sales,
or go to their outlets. Because there's a lot of outlets around the country.
We'll get like 40% off those PFG shirts, which are
great.
A material very similar. But yeah, extra shirt is always in my park bag anyway. So,
and we're just talking about the different types of shirts that we like to wear.
Yeah.
I want to try to close out this list or this category if we can.
Yeah.
Deodorant, that's self-explanatory. We don't have to talk about that a lot. Deodorant, I always have. I'm looking over at my list right now to see a cooling towel we talked about. This kind of transitions a little bit into a different category, which I'll sort of do now, and that's hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
And I'm always using this, not because I'm afraid of getting sick. I've kind of made it a habit. Well, absolutely, yes. So I have them like on my desk at school because there's kids around all the time, and I've mentioned this earlier, I'm very sensitive to smells, and I really like the hand sanitizer that has the different smells in it. So to me, every once in a while, I'll do that, and it smells really good. It's kind of a reset button. You know, if you're standing in line for a long time, you put on the hand sanitizer, all of a sudden you're hit with this rush of one was I using just now? It is Crystal Blue Coast, and it's by what's Bath and Body Works, but you can use any one you want. I'm just saying that as a tip if you're smell sensitive. It's just another way to, if you're waiting in line, hey, that smells great. Hey, give me some of that. Then everybody's hands are clean because you're touching handrails. If you're waiting in line for Winnie the Pooh and you got your hands on that honey wall or any of the interactive elements in Mine Train, all that stuff, everyone's touching it. You know, you want to try to avoid getting sick. The airplane, it's tough to avoid germs on the airplane, but you want to add anything to that?
No, hand sanitizer is always something I have like attached to my bag, like on a little, like I have those containers that they slide in and then they have like a little loop.
Yeah, I do too. That's a great idea.
And so you just, like if the kids need it, it's like, hey, it's on the side of the bag. I stop, they pump it from the side of the bag. It's not an issue. It's not even in my bag. It's on the outside. So it is something that we use a lot of. Is the hand sanitizer. So
let's backtrack a little bit. You know what I just noticed on the list that we discussed earlier is the Ziploc bags, which is it'll kind of go into the rain category in a second, but it'll also go towards if you have a kid who wants to change their shirt, or if they have socks that they want to change out.
Or he gets caught in a downpour.
Right. This is your thing, and I actually got the idea from you and your wife. So I'll let you talk about
we always bring like the gallon Ziplocs. We'll bring multiple of them. Sometimes they already have stuff packed into them. So like there's a couple reasons this works really well. So we'll take the Ziplocs, they're transparent, and we'll pack our raincoats inside of that area. Or if we have umbrella, right? Or whatever. And if our bag sets security off, because guess what? They always do, no matter what. Yeah. And every time you ask why to set it off, you get a different answer. But anyway, when you're going through, it makes it so much easier to go through the bag. They can pull the stuff out because it's compartmentalized, look at it, and then it goes right back in easily. You don't have to repack your bag in a very difficult way. So that's reason one, we use them. Reason two is we put extras in there so that way if we get caught in a downpour, and when we do change into our new clothes, our new shirt and stuff, we can put the wet stuff in there, and it's not making the rest of our bag super wet. So
since we're transitioning into the rain category, one issue that we had one time is we did not bring a spare set of shoes for my son. And we got caught in a downpour, and he essentially ruined his shoes that day and got blisters on his feet. We looked everywhere. We were in multiple parks, went to 2 different parks that day, and we could not find any kind of footwear. Like they didn't even have Crocs at this particular park that day.
Really?
It was at Animal Kingdom. They didn't have any at all. We looked everywhere. They didn't have them. Wow. When we got to our second park, we finally found a pair of Crocs. His feet were already all torn up, and we felt really bad for him, and they're very expensive there too. But when it comes to extra footwear, the important thing is to be thoughtful of the amount of walking you're going to do and also be thoughtful of the size of the shoes that are going to go in the bag. An easy one is, I'll just put Crocs in my bag. They're very light. Sure, but they're going to take up a lot of room. Like a smarter thing to do is think of those sandals. I think Reef makes them where they kind of like wrap around the top of your shoes.
Your feet?
Yes, your feet. Correct.
Teva. You're thinking of Teva.
Yes, Teva makes them. I know you and I both like the Adidas slides, which are really good and they stay on your feet really well. Those are really good too.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't do this in my park bag.
I do.
I know you do.
Every time.
I personally, I know people who bring and always have slides in their bag. It's not me. I always look at it. If my feet get that wet, I'm probably not in a mood to stay in the park anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm not switching out to slides. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
However, I get where you're coming from, and I can't imagine packing Crocs. They're big. They're bulky. They're not small.
Especially if you wear a size 12 or
14. Hello, looking at you,
right.
Looking at me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an issue.
And then poncho and raincoat. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. You and I both have a similar raincoat. That we.
It's like a self-packing one. Like it has its own pocket that it can pack into. It's a Columbia one.
Mm-hmm. It packs up. People are watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's about this big when you pack it up.
I would say it's smaller than your hand.
Yeah.
So like if you were to think about that, it's probably about the right size. Really lightweight. It's not something that's super comfortable to wear all day because it like all rain jackets will kind of stick to you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's great for a quick, like I always take mine out when I'm going on Splash or Tiana's, or if I were to do Cali River Rapids, I'd have it out.
We always did too. Yep.
And last year we got caught in a downpour in Epcot. Was that last? Yeah, it was. You just take it out, quickly throw it on. Now you're not going to need to worry about necessarily. Maybe you've already changed into your new shirt for the day. Right. It's like you don't want to have to ruin this one too. So I always have a raincoat in my bag.
Staying with clothes, a lot of times my kids and my wife are very sensitive to the cold, which is kind of funny because you're so hot outside, and as soon as we go inside, and my kids aren't. When they were younger, we'd come into the air condition, like let's say we go into Phil Har Magic, and I look over and the kids are like, I'm cold.
Yeah.
So we always brought like a lighter second layer, like a sweatshirt that we could pull out and have them put it on. Then it comes right back off.
Yeah, that's my daughter for me. My son doesn't do that, but my daughter definitely does.
Some people are just sensitive, and it is what it is. You just got to prepare for it.
Well, and if you're really sweaty, right? And you go from 90-degree weather inside, your shirt is cold, and all of a sudden you're sitting for 15 minutes in Hall of Presidents, and you're freezing. I get it. For me, it feels darn good because I've just spent the day 95 degrees. For a kid, maybe that's not the case. So I totally understand bringing that lightweight, like Roosevelt actually makes like a performance hoodie, but you can get other kinds of performance.
It's a great idea.
Those other performance
Columbia
hoodies.
does them too. Great idea.
They're very lightweight. Like I get them. Some of my soccer players wear them during early fall, where it's just enough to break the wind, but it's not a windbreaker material, and so it keeps them a little bit cooler.
And some kids will wear them to swim because they're FPS. Yes. Is that the right?
SPF.
SPF. Thank you.
So that was rain. Is that what we were just talking? Yeah, we were just talking about the rain stuff and then cold. Let's move away from clothing. I think that we've talked about all the clothing, right?
The last thing I had that was related was buy dollar store sunglasses for your kids.
Yeah.
Because kids lose sunglasses.
Yeah.
I mean, I have prescription ones. I wear glasses. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm always wearing my glasses. You wear glasses too, but you wear contacts, so it doesn't matter as much for you.
Yeah.
So I have my prescription ones, but my
son
kids,
wears glasses, so like he has to have prescription sunglasses or transitions. He typically, when we go to Disney, we typically are looking at him wearing the transitions. He doesn't like them, and I get why, because they're not that great. Like they're not the same as a sunglass, but it's that way going going in and out, in and out, in and out. He doesn't have to keep switching.
Well, I have both, and my transitions don't transition fast enough. So my problem is when I go
the new
inside,
ones do really well.
They do. The ones that I have, when I go inside, it's like I'm blind because they haven't transitioned fully.
Yeah.
So when I'm in a dark area, it's like
his are pretty quick,
totally
so that's
blind.
not a major issue. But yeah, I forgot about sunglasses.
But go buy sunglasses at the dollar store or Five Below, whatever you have in your area of the country. Buy the cheapest sunglasses and get a couple of them and put them in your bag.
Yeah.
Kids are going to lose them.
Yeah.
That's really all I had for clothing or rain and a couple other things that we have before we finish up here.
Yeah. So I would say one of the things that is important nowadays, especially, that you must have in your bag.
Yep. It's at the top of mine. I know what you're going to say.
You have to have a power bank of some sort. Not because you are sacrificing time with your family to be on your phone, but because Disney has made it so that you have to.
Mm-hmm.
You're ordering your food on your phone. You're choosing your next ride on your phone.
Yeah.
You're taking pictures with your phone. Everything you're doing, like not everything, but much of what you're doing on your phone. And so it's really important that you have those battery packs, whether it be for your camera, for your phone, for your whatever. Maybe you have a kid who needs entertainment and you're getting those long lines, and so you have like a tablet of some sort. I'm not advocating for that, but you might have somebody who needs that.
Sure.
Right? And so battery packs are huge.
Well, the good news too is in most of the parks now it's almost like a vending machine for I can't remember the specific name, but it's
fuel rod.
Fuel rod. Thank you.
Yeah,
and
every
you can
park
get
has
those.
Yeah,
you can get those in the parks now, which is nice. A brand I would recommend, and I'm pretty sure that you're the one that recommended it to me, that does a really good job with their products in general is Anchor.
Anchor 100%.
I think that's you who recommended them to me, and it's a great company.
I mean, they do everything from whole home battery packs, like that you can have a whole home generator with.
Man, I thought about that the other day.
All the way down to
when the power went out last week.
You guys had power outage. Yeah.
Well, it's terrible if you're somebody like me that needs power to be able to breathe. That's a conversation for another time.
Yeah.
But that was not a good night. But Anchor makes really good quality products, and that was a good tip by you. I appreciate it.
I believe TSA has changed some stuff with power banks in your luggage. So just make sure that whatever power bank you're bringing is TSA approved.
Good point.
I would just
depending on when
out.
you're listening to this, all this stuff could change.
Correct. I just want to point that out. Like if you're flying, you might want to just double check what the rules are, because there are different rules now with power banks. But the power banks are super important to us. What do you got next?
Keeping with the power category, power bars. That's something that we like in our family. It's protein built in. Sometimes you can get them with caffeine. They're just a really good, hearty snack for kids. And a lot of times, again, your backpack sounds good because it's an Igloo one. And if you get those chocolate ones, it's pretty close to sell it to a kid. It's kind of like a Snickers or a Butterfinger bar. Or, you can kind of trick the kids into thinking it's, but it's good for them.
Yeah. We always have like granola bars. My daughter loves granola bars, or something quick. And, because you might not want to stop and get a snack, but at the same time you need to eat. Maybe you've got a big dinner that night, so you're like, I don't want to eat a full lunch, but that power bar, that meal replacement bar, those sometimes we'll pack like fruit, even like fresh fruit in the bag, so apples or whatever. But like it's important. It saves a lot, especially when you have a hangry girl in your family.
Or you have a track athlete who eats a ton of food at my house. He eats so much food.
Yeah, I feel you. The other thing that I had on my list that I think that people will be like, what? Straws.
Oh yeah.
Straws,
which is important for the gluten-free family as well.
Which is a shock. I'll tell you why I bring straws, and then I'll let you explain the other side of things. So for me, a paper straw and a milkshake, a paper straw and anything that you're not slugging back just doesn't work. They don't work, and so you can't use those for those thicker drinks. And even like an iced coffee that you're not going to slug back, by the end of it, it gets all mushy. I'm all about the environment and saving the environment, right? but paper straws ain't it. And for us, like those metal straws or silicone straws are probably something. Or in those Ziploc bags that we bring in, we can use those plastic straws. And I get it. I understand the environmental issues with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just telling you, paper straws just don't work. And for you have another concern.
Yeah, if you have a gluten allergy or if you have celiac disease, like some members of our family, a lot of those paper straws are made with gluten. And so if you use a paper straw and you don't know any better, now your kid is getting sick and may have to, who knows, go to the restroom or something, and it could goof up the rest of their day. So generally we go, if it's a plastic straw, good. A lot of times we've brought our own, or we just don't use one. We just get our drinks and we just have it with no lid and we just be careful.
Yeah. I'm not sure about you. I've never seen paper naturally adhere to itself. And I don't want to have my mouth on something that has chemical glue. And so the reason that it has gluten in it, because people are probably like, what? Is because a lot of the glue that they use is made with wheat. It's a wheat-based glue.
Yeah, it's kind of like paper mache.
Because it's it has to be food safe.
Yeah.
If
you ever did paper mache in art class, it's very similar to, that's how they make the straws. It's the best way to.
Yes.
It's not exactly, but it's close.
And it's made with made with wheat glue. I think some places are kind of transferring or transforming, or whatever you want to say. They're changing over to have these, like, I think it's agave based.
Really?
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's some other alternatives out there. A lot of them are gluten free, but not all of them are, and that would be a pain having to ask every single time you stop at a drink place, hey, is this a gluten free straw?
Yeah.
And for some of them, they're going to look at you like, what?
Right. So
straw?
When that happens, we just do no straw.
Yeah. I completely understand.
I only have one more thing. What do you have left?
That's it.
Okay. Last thing I have is just meds in general, whether it's Advil or Tums for an upset stomach, Lactate if you have issues with dairy or cheese, any of those things you can get, like the
Dramamine.
Yes, Dramamine. You get the single packs and then put that in your bag too. But it's a lot. I mean, you're essentially going to be carrying a lot around with you. But look at it as you can get a lot of these things if you need them, and just letting you know, if you go to Disney, kind of in the back, or if you're at Magic Kingdom, of course, Disney. If you go in the back corner of Tomorrowland, there is like a first aid area there. We've gone before to get, and I don't know why, my wife's always prepared with this, to get like Advil or like pain reliever. You can get those things where they're not marked up $1 million like they would be at the different resorts.
Yeah.
So just, I wanted to end with that tip too before we wrap things up. I think we have pretty much everything on our list.
Yeah.
But there's so much more. So if you're listening and you're saying, well, what about such and such? What about this? Yeah, you're probably right. And it's going to depend, again, like, okay, diapers. We didn't say diapers, right? It's going to depend on how old your kid is, or if you have kids, or if you don't have kids.
And how long your park day is going to be, right?
Correct.
If your park day is going to be an all-day situation, then you're going to have more in your bag. Or if you're not going all day, you're not packing an extra shirt. You're not packing. You might not pack deodorant. You might not pack the Gold Bond and the Body Glide. You might not pack those things if you're going for a 3-hour quick jaunt over to Magic Kingdom because you're staying at the Poly and you want to go in the morning, but you've got a lunch reservation back over at the Poly.
Right.
I'm not packing the same stuff. I might not even pack anything. I might not even take a bag, maybe.
Which leads to another great story of when you and I went. We're like, let's just go over for the night. Weather looks good. We're going to go over to Magic Kingdom from the Poly. All of us decide to go over together. I
love that picture, by the way.
And there's a couple great pictures. One of us is on the boat over to Magic Kingdom, and the clouds are scary.
There's a wall.
And you guys had your rain gear. We did not. We were like, we're just going to go over. We don't need anything. It's going to be a quick trip. And it was pouring, and we got soaked.
Yeah, you got slammed.
We did. Bad. It was really, really bad. And even when you think, it's going to be fine, I learned the hard way many times going to Disney. I learned the hard way thinking I had the right sneakers when I went to Disneyland. I sure didn't, and I got crazy blisters, and I had to buy a new pair of sneakers that day.
Yeah.
So we learn the hard way from these things, and we've been a lot, and that's why we're trying to help you, the listener, out with making sure you don't fall into the same pitfalls that we did.
And I will say that actually leads us to a perfect spot here.
Sure.
What I would say is this, is that if you're watching this episode, if you're listening to this episode, or if you're seeing the teaser for this episode on Instagram, let us know in the comments what thing in your park bag you would not want to live without. Okay? So give us a like on the episode, subscribe, all those things, ring that bell, all the stuff, right? Yeah. But definitely comment down below. What exactly is it that you can't live without in your park bag? And maybe just, make it one of the obscure things. Like, I'm crazy, but I can't live without, I don't know, Frank's Red Hot. I mean,
sure.
I kind of think that might be a good thing to add in my park bag.
That's actually a really good idea to add, especially us being in the Buffalo area.
Exactly.
And then take this episode after you comment and send it to someone who's going to Disney really soon.
Yeah.
This is a really beneficial podcast to listen to on the way to work for somebody who is going, and maybe they're going for their first time, or maybe they're going for their 50th time, and we just shared something you may not know. So share it with a friend, please.
Absolutely. But it's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow's just a list away.
Tune in next time, and we'll see you real soon.